But I mentioned John Wheeler naming the black hole the black hole. That's John Wheeler. I mentioned Remo Ruffini observing the first black hole and discovering it, Sydney 6-1, and that's Remo Ruffini. And Roger Penrose proved that there must always form black holes, and that is Roger Penrose here. So in the book I had all three, and I acknowledged all three of them because I worked with all of them and benefited a lot. I mentioned about Schwarzschild being talked about by Einstein. And Remo Ruffini, I mentioned, had done the work and found this, he had independently found that limit of 3.2 solar masses. Not the other part, he didn't identify the black hole in Sigma 6-1, but he had found that limit. When Remo Ruffini went to China, he happened to meet Fan Lizhi and learned from Fan Lizhi about that work. He then made a point of telling everybody his limit, which everybody knew was his limit, because he had published abroad, had actually also been found separately by Fan Lizhi. Fan had not published internationally because this was at the time of the Cultural Revolution in China. And Chinese scientists were not allowed to publish internationally. They had to publish only in the local journal, and Fan had published in the local journal. So now we have this example of somebody giving credit to the extent of going and telling everywhere that this was done also by Fan Lizhi. Oddly enough, there was a person who took the credit from his student for the work that got a Nobel Prize, and the student was Jocelyn Bell, who discovered the first neutron star, and her supervisor was Anthony Hewish, who stole the prize. In this case, Fan Lizhi did not try to do anything like that, and Remo Ruffini did not do anything like that. He gave full credit even where nobody else knew anything about it, and Fan wasn't claiming it. He went ahead. That is the top type of ethics in science. The other part I just mentioned also. So there is then the Schwarzschild black hole must always form. Now I said that the coordinates break down, and one has to change the coordinates to be able to try to see what might be happening inside the black hole. And this was done by Kreskel and Sekres, Kreskel diagram there. I'm not going into the algebra there. This diagram made it possible to understand things that were going on inside the black hole, or how it would look inside the black hole as you go towards the singularity. This diagram was developed actually by Carter, and it was called the Penrose diagram by Stephen Hawking in his book, the large-scale structure of space-time. Penrose went and told Hawking that this was a diagram by Carter, and actually not his original. He had then developed further with it. He got a student to work on it, and that student then did more. He should then also get his name. But then, after that, Hawking and others called it the Carter-Penrose diagram, or many people still call it the Penrose diagram. But Penrose